Hello everyone, welcome to my channel ML Guru. I am Arjun Pukale. In this video, we will build the logistic regression model for the case of single variable from scratch in Python. In the previous video, in the theory part, we had derived the expression for using gradient descent on this logistic regression model, where we had used the mean squared error loss function, and we saw how we can apply a gradient descent update rule and update the learning parameters of this logistic regression model, which are nothing but the W and B. And now let's see how to build such a model from scratch. So we will be doing this in Google Colab. I will be providing the link of this notebook in the description. Also, we will be following the same template which we had followed during implementing the gradient descent from scratch in the case of linear regression. So let's start with it. First, I'm importing all the necessary libraries, which includes these matplotlib functions. So basically, in this video, we'll be actually visualizing the loss function, and we'll see how the model gets updated after each epoch. So we will be needing all this animation and matplotlib 3D functions for it. For building our model, we will be needing the NumPy. For visualizing purpose, we will be needing Seaborn. So let's run this. Now for this demonstration purpose, I will be building a simple toy dataset. So in this, as you can see, there are just 6 values on the x-axis, and these are the corresponding true labels associated with it. So let's see. Also, your m denotes the length of our dataset. In this case, the value of m will be 6. Now let's visualize this toy dataset. So as you can see, there are 3 points which belongs to class 0. There are 3 points which belongs to class 1. And I have specifically denoted the points belonging to class 0 with green color, and the points belonging to class 1 with red color, and this y-axis denotes the true label. As you can see, all the green points are on the 0 line and all the red points are on the 1 line. And here for help, I have attached the screenshots of the function which we had derived in the previous video. If you had not seen the previous video, I will suggest you to see that, because then only you can understand all these formulas. If you already know these formulas, then continue. So I had denotes our prediction on a particular point x given the values of the weight w and the bias b. This is also the formula of sigmoid function which we use in logistic regression, and this is our mean squared error loss function. This is the partial derivative of this loss function with respect to the weight w, and similar the partial derivative of loss function L with respect to B, and these were the formulas. So let's start building our model class. So let's name this class as LR, which stands for logistic regression. So in this, we will first be defining the init function, which takes the value of W and B, which are nothing but the initial values of W and B if the user wants to specify. So we will be assigning the value of W and B of this particular model as to the values given by the user. So if a user does not specify specifically the values of W and B, we will set it to 0. The default values will be 0. Now comes the sigmoid function. This is the prediction function which we will be using. It is nothing but this particular formula. So what we will do is, if the user wants to explicitly provide the values of W and B, because as you know, this prediction depends on the values of W and B. So if the user wants to externally provide the values, he or she can, but the default values will be none. So if the default value is none, means the user does not specify the value of W and B, we will be using the value associated with the model, which is nothing but this particular thing. And now once we have this w and b, we will use the formula of the sigmoid function, which is 1 over 1 plus e power minus wx plus b. We will be using numpy's exponential function to calculate this. Now the next function is to calculate the loss for the entire data set, which is nothing but for all these 6 points, and the formula given is this one in capital L. So here what we are doing is we will go through each row in our data set, and this small x and small y denote each row's x value and y value, and capital X, capital Y denotes the entire data set. So when we iterate through our data set, we will first calculate a y hat, which we can calculate using the function we just defined above. We will give the values of w and b, which we have initialized here, and take the difference with the actual value of y, which means this is the predicted value and this is the actual value, and we square the difference and just multiply it by this 0.5, because as you can see there is this 1 over 2 here, and after calculating this summation we just divide by m or take the average. As you can see here, we divide it by m. So the next function which we will be defining is to calculate the gradient value, as you can see in this formula, for each data point specifically. For example, if I am calculating it for the first row, means the value of I is 1, so I will be calculating just this particular thing. For I is equal to 2, I will be calculating only this particular thing. So as you can see here, we will first set the value of w and b. If the user does not provide explicitly the values of w and b, we will be using the current value of our model. So we will first be calculating the value of y hat, which for which we will be using our sigmoid function, and then we will use this formula, which is nothing but this particular thing, and we do the same for calculating the gradient with respect to b. The only difference between these two formulas is there is x here multiplied it at the last, and here we have nothing. So now we will be defining our main training function. We will call it as the fit function, which takes the data set capital X, capital Y. We take the number of epochs. By default it is set to 0, and the value of the learning rate. So as I had told you, we will be visualizing how our model was fitting on this data set. We will have to store the updated values of the w, b and loss as the training continues. So we have defined this 3 list to store the values of w, b and loss along the training. Then we initialize our data set. Here m denotes the number of rows. So initially, before starting the training, we just store the initial values of w, b and loss in this 3 list respectively. As you can see, for calculating loss, we are using the error function which we had defined here. So we have to just give the values of x and y. So as you can see, we are just providing self.x and self.y. So here the training loop starts. So for each epoch, we will first set the gradients to 0. Then for each particular row, basically we have to implement this summation. So for each particular row, we have already defined the function to calculate these individual terms. So we have to just loop over this and just accumulate all these gradients and then take the average. So we do the same. We iterate through each row. We accumulate the gradient by using the grad w and grad b formula for each row specifically. and then after doing that we just divide it by m, or just take the average. And then we apply our gradient descent update rule, which is nothing but we update the current value of w by subtracting the learning rate times the dw, and similar here db. And after that we will be storing the updated value of w, b, and the loss function. So let's run this. So we have finished defining our model class. Now let's initialize the model. For initializing the model, we will first needing to initialize the value of w and b. So you can assign any random number to it. I am just assigning the values -2 and 1 respectively. I have set the number of epochs to 80 and the learning rate equal to 0.8. Also, you can play with different values of this. For now, I'm initializing to these particular values. And then we have to create the object of this LR class. So to create, we will be passing the values of this W init and B init, which we have defined here, and create our model object. So our model object has been created, and now we have to call this fit function to train it on our dataset capital X, capital Y, which is nothing but the X and the true values for all the rows. We give the number of epochs which we had initialized to 80 and learning rate which we have initialized to 0.8. So let's call it. So within a fraction of second the model has been trained, and now let's visualize the result. So as you can see, the model has fitted very nicely on this toy dataset. So this is a very simple function to plot. First, what we are doing is we are using the same code to plot these dataset points which we had used above, and then what we are doing is we choose 50 points in this range on the x-axis, and for each of this point we pass it to our model by calling the sigmoid function of our model. And because our model has trained, it has its updated or trained values of w and b, and based on that it will make predictions. So this blue line which you can see is just a prediction made over all these 50 points on the x-axis. We denote it using the blue color, and we have plotted it. The next thing to visualize is the loss versus epochs graph. So we want to see that how the loss is reducing as the number of epochs increases. So during the training, we have set the number of epochs to 80. So as you can see, as the training continues, the loss decreases, and after 60 or 70, the model has fitted, or it has converged on the loss function. Now also before moving forward, I want to show you how we can make predictions. So now our model has been trained. So why we train the model? To make predictions, right? So suppose we want to make some predictions on this trained model. So what we will do is, so we will write here making predictions. So to make predictions, we will be using the model.sigmoid function. In this, we have to just pass the value of x on which we have to predict. We do not need to compulsorily specify the values of w and b, because it will be using the trained values of w and b. So we just need to pass the array of x on which we want to predict. Also note that we can make prediction on multiple values of x simultaneously. So to pass the multiple values of this x on which we want to make predictions, we will just pass here an array of different x values. So let's see here, let's choose any 3 points. So let's say -2.5, let's say 1.2, let's say 2.6. So we want to make predictions on these 3 points, and as you can see, it gives prediction on all these points. So as you can see, minus 2.5 somewhere over here, and the value is very close to 0, and here you can see numerically also. So I had already told you that this particular values, the output given by a sigmoid function, can be interpreted as probability. So it tells that if you multiply this by 100, so there is 1.6% a chance. The model is telling you that there is a probability, or there is a chance of 1.6% that this particular point minus 2.5 belongs to class 0. And uh, also for belongs to class 1, sorry, the prediction is given for the class 1, so it tells that there is uh, 0.016 probability of this particular point belonging to class 1. Similarly, for the point 2.6, it tells that there is 0.99 probability of the point 2.6 belonging to class 1. As you can also see, 2.6 is very close to 1. So this is how you can make prediction. Now your training part is over. The code below this is to just visualize the model, how it was fitting on the training data set. So you actually don't need to understand the code of this animation. You will easily find it on Google. There is a specific template. You just need to adjust it little bit according to your use. So I will be also be providing the link of this notebook in the description box, so you can go through this code. I will be not going into much details on this code of plotting. So here basically what we want to do is we have to create an animation on how the model updated itself of, right from epoch 0 to epoch 1. So let's uh, first make the animation and then go through the code quickly. It will take some time to make the animation. So here we are ready with the animation. So see, currently at epoch 0, this was our model. If you remember, we had initialized the values of w and b to minus 2 and 1. So for that particular values of w and b, this was the shape of our sigmoid function. As I told you when we were discussing the sigmoid model, the shape of this sigmoid function depends on the values of w and b. So let's see how this model updated during the epochs. So let's play this. I am increasing the speed little bit. So as you can see, after each epoch, the model is fitting on this data set. So by this time, the model has converged on this data set. So for that, what we are doing is, for as you know, we had stored this model w hist and b hist. So for each pair of this w hist and b hist, for all the 80 epochs, we are storing the value of the sigmoid function and appending it in this list. So we are doing the similar thing which we had did here. We will be choosing 50 points in between in this range, and for each epoch, as we know the value of w and b for each epoch, because we had stored that, we can make an array which is of the shape the number of epochs plus 1, because there are 80 epochs of training and this extra one is for the initialized value. So the shape of this particular array for our case will be 81 rows and 50 columns, because we are choosing 50 points from the x-axis. And when we pass this animation function, we have to pass this w hist array here, and then we will get our plot. Now we will be visualizing the loss surface. Also, this code, you do not need to go into details of this code. This is the basic template which you will be finding on Google everywhere. You just need to pass your inputs according to your use. So here, maybe I first show you the output. So this is the loss function. As you can see on the two axes below, we have the values of w and b. And as you know, for each particular pair of this value, let's say for the value w equal to 0 and b is equal to 4, for this particular point, you will have some loss value on your data set. So for all the possible combinations in this 2D grid of W and B, you will have a particular value of loss associated with it. So we are doing the same thing. First we define the range of this 2D grid, and then you have basically two options. One is to plot the 3D surface, and the second one is to just plot the 2D contour of this 3D loss function. You can either use one of them. So first let's use the 3D plot. So we'll be setting it to true and 2D to false. So let's run this. As I told you, this is the basic template for plotting the animation. Here, as you can see, we are creating the mesh grid or this 2D grid of W and B, and we extract 256 point for both for W and B in this range, and then for each of this point we will be calculating the error which we had defined model.error, and then plotting the value of the loss function. Also, along with this 3D plot, we are projecting its 2D contour below. So here you can see both the 3D loss surface and its 2D contour plot. So so here you have set the offset to -1, meaning the 2D contour will be plotted at the value -1 on the z-axis. So these particular two things, these three things, the value of elevation, the azimuthal angle by which you are viewing, and the distance from the viewing point from the axis, you can adjust it according to your view. So let's plot it. So you will be getting this loss surface. Now what we have to do is, as we have stored the values of W and B for each epoch, we have to just animate that point W comma B for each epoch on this 3D loss surface. So this is the code for doing this. So let's run this. The 3D plot will actually take some time to load. So let's see how much time it takes. So this code has run. It took about 2 minutes to run. So here we can see it. Maybe I'll zoom out a little bit and let's play this. So as you can see, it started with -2, 1, the values of W and B, and after each epoch it is going towards this minimum value. So here the red region denotes the height, or meaning the error here is very high, and the blue or dark blue region denotes the region where the loss is low. So as you can see, we started with the value W equal to -2 and B equal to 1 over here, and then it converges towards this blue region. Also below you can see the 2D plot. We will be visualizing the 2D plot separately. So what we will do is we will set this 3D plot to false. Also the 2D plot does not take as much time as the 3D plot, so it runs fast. So it is suitable. It saves a lot of time for making this plot. So here you can see this is the loss surface. If you don't know how to interpret this 2D contour, so as you can see, as I told you earlier, the red region denotes height, and this blue region denotes the depth. And if the contour lines are very close to each other, you must understand that there is a slope over there. Okay, so there is a steeping slope over there, and where the contour values are far away from each other, as you can see here, the region is flat. Also here you can see the region is flat. So the animation is also ready. This is the initialized value. As you can see, W equal to -2 and B equal to 1. And now let's play this. So as you can see, it converges. Also, if you notice, when this point enters in this flat region, its speed becomes slow. If you see here, when it was in this slopy region, its speed was uh, very nice compared to when it goes towards this flatter region. The other way to interpret this is that when it goes in this flatter region, the gradients of the loss with respect to the weights, meaning the slope of this surface here, is close to zero. And we know the gradient descent update rule, if you see here. Yeah, so if this dw is close to zero, then the update in this value of w, which will be, it will be very minimal. So there will be not much visible update in it. So that's why when it also you can we see it in this plot also, when it is closer to the convergence, see here, its speed becomes small, its speed becomes slow. As you can see, during this last epochs, the model is not updating that much because it has already converged. So hope you have understood the loss surface. Also, one thing to note is, let's initialize the values of WNB somewhere around here. Let's see what happens. So maybe let's see the values. So let's initialize this to maybe minus 5 comma 0. So we have initialized it to minus 5 comma 0, and let's quickly run this. So as you can see, the model has not fitted, uh, it has badly fitted uh, after 80 epochs. Why? Because let's see in the plot of the loss surface. Also you can see the loss has not decreased that much. It has decreased from 0 to 49 in the 0th epoch to 0.4971. So the fourth decimal has only changed. Now let's see why this happened. So we had initialized the value of w to minus 5 and b to 0. So it starts from here, and as I told you uh, earlier that in this flat region the value of gradients will be very close to 0. So after updating it will not update that much. So let's see how it does. So as you can see, after each epoch the point is not moving that much forward. It has to reach over here, but due to this flat region over here, it is not able to update itself. So this problem is of the local minima, meaning the model has stuck on this local minima. And this is the problem. This is one of the problem when we are using the mean squared error loss function with sigmoid model. And hence you may be those are the people which may knowing machine learning or are been studying machine learning for a while. We will be knowing that we usually use the cross entropy loss with the logistic regression function. So here is the note that when we use the mean squared error loss function with sigmoid model or your logistic regression model, your loss function is not convex, meaning the convex loss function is one which has just single minima, the global minima. But here you can see there are multiple local minimas and the model can get stuck here. So if you are lucky enough, if you had maybe initialized the values in this slopy region, your model may have converged. But if you are unlucky and your model was initialized in one of these flat regions, then your model will get stuck in this local minima. So in the upcoming videos we will be seeing how to overcome this by using the cross entropy loss function. Thank you.